The baker finds 4 abandoned children, but upon picking them up, he notices a shocking detail. The snow was falling heavier now, blanketing the cobbled streets of the quiet little town. Victor pulled his coat tighter, his breath coming out in clouds as he trudged toward his bakery. It was barely dawn, and the world was still asleep. His boots crunched in the snow as he passed the park, but something made him stop. A sound, faint at first, carried on the icy wind. A whimper. Victor turned, scanning the park benches dusted white. His tired eyes caught a shape, no, 4 small shapes, huddled together on a bench. His heart stuttered. Dropping his flour sack in the snow, he ran toward them. 4 tiny children sat there, clinging to one another like frightened animals. Their faces were pale, lips trembling, and snowflakes clung to their eyelashes. One wore a pale pink coat, her little hands red and raw from the cold. Next to her, a boy in a cream jacket stared blankly ahead, his eyes dull and lifeless. A smaller girl in a gray knit hat sobbed softly, and the youngest, a boy in a white puffer coat, lay slumped against the others, unmoving. Victor's chest tightened. Oh, God! Oh, no, no, no! He knelt in the snow, reaching out with shaking hands. "Hey, little ones, it's okay. You're safe now." The girl in pink flinched, but didn't pull away. Her hand felt like ice when he took it. Victor quickly swept off his coat and wrapped it around them. As he adjusted the smallest boy on his lap, something caught his eye. A note. Pinned to the boy's jacket was a crumpled piece of paper, smudged with moisture. His fingers trembled as he unfolded it. "Do whatever you want with them. I can't take it any more." Victor's breath caught in his throat. He looked down at the other children. Each one had a note pinned to their coat. "I'm sorry. We have no food for them. Their names are Anna, Luca, Sophia, and Emil. Please forgive me." Tears burned Victor's eyes. 2 months earlier, these children had been living with their parents. Elena and Mikhail were kind, hard-working people who adored their little ones. But one rainy night, their car skidded off the icy road and plunged into a ravine. Both parents died instantly. The children were sent to live with their mother's sister, Irina, a woman ill-prepared for the responsibility. At first she tried, but her boyfriend hated having 4 screaming kids around. Bills mounted, and her resentment grew. The night before, she'd decided she couldn't do it anymore. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the sleeping children as she bundled them into her car. "I tried, but I can't." She drove them to the park and set them on the bench. "Stay here," she said, kissing Emil's forehead. "I'll be right back." Then she got in her car and drove away. Now, Victor's hand shook with rage and heartbreak as he looked at their tiny, fragile faces. "Monsters," he whispered. "How could anyone—" The smallest boy stirred weakly in his arms, his lips barely moving. "Mama?" Victor's heart shattered. "No, little one. Mama isn't here, but I am." He stood, clutching the children close to his chest. The snow stung his face as he hurried back toward the bakery. The warmth of the bakery hit him like a wave. He set the children near the stove, wrapping them in blankets. "Hold on, babies. I've got you," he whispered, rubbing their tiny hands to bring back warmth. The notes still weighed heavy in his pocket. "Do whatever you want with them." Victor stared at the children as tears blurred his vision. "No," he said aloud, his voice firm despite the lump in his throat. "You're not trash to be thrown away. You're precious." But deep down, a gnawing fear grew in his gut. If their aunt could abandon them like this, What else was she capable of? Or was she forced to do that? And where was she now? Victor paced the bakery floor, glancing every few seconds at the children sleeping soundly on the sacks of flour near the stove. Their tiny chests rose and fell beneath the thick blankets he'd wrapped around them. But his hands wouldn't stop shaking. The notes, pinned to their coats, still burned in his pocket like a brand. Do whatever you want with them. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to think clearly. If these children had been abandoned, there was no telling what other horrors they had endured. Someone needed to step in immediately. Victor snatched up the phone and dialed the local police station. Korvasov Police Department, Officer Petrov speaking. This is Victor Pavlov, the baker on Morin Street, he said, his voice low but steady. I've found 4 toddlers in the park, abandoned. They're here now, safe. But I think something is very wrong. I have their aunt's name from a note pinned to one of their coats. There was a pause on the line. Stay where you are, Mr. Pavlov. We'll send officers over to check on the children, and we'll visit the aunt's residence immediately. Victor exhaled shakily. Please hurry. It took less than 20 minutes for the officers to arrive at the home of Irina Kozlova, the children's aunt. The apartment was dimly lit, the air thick with tension. Officer Petrov knocked firmly on the door. When it creaked open, Irina stood there, her face partially shadowed. But the moment she turned into the light, the officers froze. A purple bruise bloomed across her cheekbone. Her lip was split, and her eyes were puffy from crying. Ms. Kozlova, Officer Petrov said carefully, we're here about your nieces and nephews. They were found in the park this morning. Irina's face crumpled, and she buried it in her hands. Oh, God, the children, are they safe? She whispered, her voice hoarse. Yes, a man named Victor found them. He brought them to safety. Irina let out a sob, gripping the doorframe as if her legs might give way. Please, Petrov said gently, tell us what happened. Irina wiped her tears, her voice trembling. My boyfriend. He hated those children. From the first day they came to live with us, he said they were a burden, that they weren't his problem. He shouted at them constantly, called them names, but he never touched them, because of me. She looked up, her bruised face etched with pain. But whenever I tried to break up with him, he'd threatened to hurt them. He said if I left, he'd make me watch while he harmed them. He beat me, locked me in the bedroom for hours. And last night, she choked, clutching her chest, he told me if I didn't prove I could get rid of them, he'd do it himself. So her voice broke entirely. I took them to the park. I thought if someone kind found them, they'd have a chance. I couldn't let him touch them. I couldn't. Back at the bakery, Victor sat quietly as the children stirred awake. Are you hungry? He asked softly. The girl in the pink coat nodded. Mama, she murmured. Victor's heart twisted. Not Mama, sweet one, but I'll keep you safe until she comes. The doorbell jingled and Victor jumped. It was Officer Petrov. Mr. Pavlov, he said, his expression softening as he saw the children. We found their aunt. She's been through hell. Her boyfriend kept her prisoner, threatened the kids. We've arrested him. Victor's chest loosened, relief flooding through him. She's asked to see them. Will you bring them? Victor looked at the little ones, their wide eyes watching him with trust. He nodded. At the station, Irina sat in a chair, her hands wringing nervously. The moment the children were led in, her breath caught. Anna, Luca, Sophia, Emil. The children blinked at her uncertainly. "Auntie?" the girl in pink whispered. "Yes, baby. Auntie's here." Anna broke into a sob, running into her arms. The others followed, clinging to her tightly as she cried into their hair. "I'm so sorry," Irina whispered over and over. "I never wanted to leave you. I was trying to save you." Victor stood in the doorway, his throat tight. Over the next few days, Irina worked with social services and the police. Her boyfriend was charged with assault, child endangerment, and unlawful imprisonment. She swore she would do whatever it took to keep the children safe and never let another man near them again. Victor came to visit the children often, bringing fresh bread and pastries. One afternoon, as he handed Emil a warm cinnamon roll, Irina turned to him with tears in her eyes. "I can never thank you enough, Victor. You saved their lives." Victor smiled faintly. "You saved them too, Irina. You just needed someone to stand beside you." Months later, Victor's bakery had a new kind of warmth. The children often visited, helping him knead dough with flour-covered hands. Irina worked hard, attending counseling and building a new life for her family. And as Victor watched them laugh and play in his shop one snowy morning, he realized something. Maybe he hadn't just saved them. Maybe they had saved him too.